Okay, so our today's topic is presenting and pitching. Let's explore the topic. As we all know that all of us have knowledge, ideas, or solutions in our mind ready. But if we are not able to explain them clearly because of lack of skills, they will remain locked inside because of hesitation. Presenting skills are the bridge that allows us to share ideas with others in a way that they can be understand, connect with, and act upon easily. So, for example, in academics, a student who explains a project confidently is remembered by the professor. I'm really sorry. And in the workplace, a professional who can present a solution clearly to their team or our manager often gets more recognition and opportunities. And for entrepreneurs, pitching an idea convincingly to investors can make the difference between getting funded and being overlooked. Well, presenting also builds confidence and credibility in a person. When you stand in front of an audience and deliver with clarity, people automatically perceive you as knowledgeable and trustworthy. It shows not just what you know, but how effectively you can share it. And another big reason for why these skills matter is that they help us to transform complex ideas into simple and a clear message. Think of scientists, engineers, or business leaders. If they only speak in jargon, most people will tune out because they will lose interest because of the jargon they are using. But if they explain things in really simple terms, like we use in our daily life and all, like in normal words, no, the whole audience can follow them. Finally, strong presentation skills allow you to persuade, inspire, and create impact on others. Whether it's convincing your classmates, motivating your team, or inspiring a client, your words and delivery can shape decisions and even change outcomes. So, to sum up, presenting skills are not just about standing on a stage and speaking, they are all about building confidence, simplifying ideas, and creating real impact in every area of life, like as academic, professional, and entrepreneur. Let's move forward. When we talk about technical presentations, one of the most important things to remember is a structure. A good structure ensures that your audience, whether technical or non-technical, can follow along without getting lost in your own jargons or in your own structure. Imagine reading a book with no chapters. It would be really confusing and overwhelming. And the same applies to the presentations you are going to give. Breaking it into clear sections will help people process information more effectively. Okay, so let's just have a look on a proper structure. First, introduction. Second, main body. And third is the conclusion. Let's start with the first one. The first part is the introduction, which is where you set the stage. You define the topic, explain the purpose of your talk, and most important, highlight why it matters. Audience usually pay attention only when they know why they should listen and what they are going to gain. For example, if you're presenting on renewable energy, let's take a renewable energy for a main topic for this whole presentation, which will be good without getting lost and without getting confused. So, okay, don't just, whenever you're presenting on renewable energy, don't start with technical formulas. Instead, begin by saying, our world is running out of fossil fuels, and renewable energy could be the key to survival. That creates relevance and grabs attention. Next, move forward to main body. Okay, this is where the technical details come in. But here, the key, you should not just dump information. You should explain it step by step, use logic, real life examples, and visuals like charts, diagrams, or short demos. It will help your audience to engage, come on the same page. Visuals are especially powerful because they make abstract concepts more tangible. Think of it like a teacher. What do they do? They simplify, they illustrate, and they connect the dots so everyone stays with them. They don't just explain without getting any kind of thing. They just explain so that everyone can understand, only not them. Okay, now let's move to the conclusion. A lot of presenters make the mistakes ending abruptly, but where you leave a lasting impression on the audience, that is known as conclusion. You summarize the key takeaways in simple terms, reinforce why the topic matters, and ideally give the audience something actionable. It could be a thought, a call to action, or even a question to reflect on. For example, after a presentation on cybersecurity, you might end with, so the next time you reuse a weak password, remember it's not just an inconvenience, it's a risk. This sentence will stick with them. So, the anatomy of technical presentation is really simple: an engaging introduction, a clear and logical main body, and a powerful conclusion. Think of it as a story arc like beginning, middle, and end. When done well, even the most complex topic becomes easy to follow and memorable. Now, let's walk through an actual example of how to structure a technical presentation. We will use renewable energy as a topic, as I mentioned before. This will show you how to make a complex subject and deliver it step by step in a way that feels logical, engaging, and persuasive. Let's begin with the introduction first. To grab attention, you must highlight the problem. For instance, I'm sorry. For instance, you could start with, today the face is rising, energy demand and climate change challenges. This line immediately makes the issue relevant and urgent. It sets the context so the audience understand why the topic matters. Then you smoothly transition into the solution by using renewable sources like solar, wind, and hydro can meet our needs. Have you noticed that it didn't overwhelm the audience? It just with technical details. It has just set the stage so that everyone can understand what we are going to listen. Next, we move into the main body. This is where we break down the solution and our whole topic with clarity. You might say renewables are sustainable, eco-friendly, and cost-saving in the long run. Here, you can use simple comparisons or examples. For instance, explain how solar panels on a single building can reduce energy bills by 30%, or how wind energy has helped countries like Denmark meet nearly half their electricity needs. These real life facts make the presentations more relatable and understandable for the audience. But it is also important to acknowledge challenges, because ignoring them can make you sound unrealistic or underconfident. You could explain challenges such as storage and infrastructure exist, but they can be overcome with innovations. Here, you can briefly touch on battery technology or smart grids to show that you are aware of the complexities but optimistic about solutions. By addressing the problem honestly, you actually build more credibility. Instead of giving like useless examples or unrealistic examples or the solutions. Finally, let's come to the conclusion. This is where you make your message memorable. A powerful way to end would be, investing in renewable energy is not just an option, it's a pathway to a cleaner and sustainable future. Just notice how this conclusion is both inspiring and action oriented. It leaves the audience thinking not just about the data, but about the larger impact and responsibility. Okay, just imagine giving this kind of structured talk in front of two different audiences. Like, let's take engineering student and a group of policymakers. Okay, so with students, you may add more technical data, like how solar panels convert energy or how wind turbines are designed. With policymaker, you would emphasize cost savings, economic growth, and environmental benefits. The structure remains the same, but you adapt the content according to your audience, which is a great thing. The key takeaway here is simple. Structure always matters, starting with the problem, moving logically through the solutions and challenges, and lastly, closing with a strong conclusion ensures your audience not just only understand your message, but also remember it. And renewable energy is a perfect example because it's both technical and deeply relevant to society. So the next time you're preparing a technical presentation, whether it's on energy, data science, or healthcare, just think of the framework we just discussed. First is introduction, second, main body, third, conclusion. If this done well, it will transform your talk from just a collection of facts into a story that educates, convinces, and inspires us. Let's move to another slide, which is presenting to different audience. The effectiveness of a presentation depends on how well you adapt your message to your audience. When it comes to presentation, one size does not fit all. The same idea, but if presented in the wrong way to the wrong audience, can completely lose its impact. That's why adapting to your audience is such a crucial thing. Let's look at three different types of audience you'll mostly likely encounter. First, technical audience. Second, non-technical and general audience, decision makers, which is managers or investors. First, with a technical audience, your focus should be on depth. They care about accuracy, technical rigor, and the how. That means you can use detailed data, charts, formulas, and even industry-specific jargons because they will understand it without any confusion and getting lost in your own jargons. For example, if you're presenting a new software tool to engineers, what do you talk about? You should talk about the coding framework, the algorithms, or the efficiency benchmarks. The risk here is under explaining. If you stay on too surface level, they will lose interest because they want to see the technical backbone. They already know about it. So what they're going to look at? They're going to look at the technical backbones. Next, a non-technical or general audience. Here, your goal is translation. These people don't necessarily care about the technical details. They want to know why it actually matters and why should they pay attention to it. You need to switch from jargon to simple language, use analogies they can relate to, and rely more on visuals than on data tables. For instance, instead of saying this system uses a 5-layer neural network with 98% accuracy, you should say, or you might say, this system works like the human brain, learning from examples until it gets really good at making predictions. Almost like how we learn to recognize faces. This simple analogy makes the concept accessible and memorable. Finally, we have decision makers. Managers, executives, or investors, these people care about outcomes. They are busy, so they don't want the technical depth and they are not looking for oversimplified metaphors either. What they want to know is what's the impact? How will it save time? How will it reduce cost? And how will it increase efficiency? A great strategy is to frame your content in terms of ROI. This solution will reduce processing time by 30%, which translates to a saving of 5 million rupees annually. That's the language they will connect with because they don't have much time to go into the depth of the topic. The real art here is flexibility. You might even present the same project to three audiences on three different occasions. The technical version would be heavy on data, the general version would be about big picture benefits, and the executive version would be all about results and numbers. The content may be same at its core, but the way you deliver it is completely different. So the key takeaway is know your audience before you present. Ask yourself, what do they care about? What language will they connect with? And what level of detail is appropriate? If you can answer these questions, you will always deliver presentations that feel tailored, relevant, and impactful. This adaptability is what separates an average presenter from a great one. Now that we have talked about structuring and tailoring presentations, let's focus on the actual delivery, because even the well-prepared slides will fall flat if the delivery is really dull. Your goal as a presenter isn't just to share information. It's to make people care about it, remember it, and act on it. And that's where engaging delivery techniques come in. Let's look at four of the most powerful ones: storytelling, body language, voice modulation, and interactive elements. Let me elaborate all these four. First, storytelling. Humans connect with stories much more than the raw data. A short, relevant story makes your idea relatable and memorable. For example, instead of just saying renewable energy reduces cost, you could tell a quick story of a village or anything that shifted to solar power and cut their expenses in half while creating jobs. That kind of story sticks in people's mind because it paints a picture. Whenever possible, wrap your point in a short story, case study, or even a personal experience. Let's come to the next one, which is body language. Your words matter, but so does how you physically present yourself. Always maintain eye contact. It shows confidence and makes the audience feel included. Use gestures naturally to emphasize points, but avoid overdoing them. Moving around the stage or even just shifting slightly keeps energy following, whereas standing stiffly can make you seem nervous or disengaged or even underconfident. The key is to look approachable and confident at the same time. Now, let's come to the voice modulation. This is something many presenters struggle with because nervousness makes them speak in a flat, monotonous tone. That's the fastest way to lose your audience. Instead, vary your tone, your pitch, and your pace. Pause at important moments. It builds anticipation and gives your audience time to absorb your message. Think of your voice like a musical instrument. You can speed up when you're excited, slow down to emphasize your importance, or raise your pitch to highlight a key idea. Finally, interactive elements. Engagement is not a one-way street. Involving your audience keeps them active and present their minds from wondering. Ask them a question, invite a quick show of hands, or even run a quick poll if the settings allows it. You can also use visuals like surprising images, a chart, or a short video clip, just like a storytelling, to make a point more dynamic. Even something as simple as asking, "How many of you have faced this challenge before?" immediately makes the audience part of your presentation. So let's look on the four in a short way. With first one, storytelling. It shares a short story or example to make ideas more relatable. Body language, use eye contact, gesture, and movement to show your confidence. Voice modulation, vary tone, pitch, and pauses to avoid monotony. Interactive elements, ask questions, take quick polls, or use visuals to involve the audience. So, to bring this all together, a presentation is not just about what you say, it is all about how you say it. When you combine storytelling, confident body, and engaging voice modulation and audience interaction, you transform your delivery from ordinary to impactful. Let me tell you a big takeaway. People may forget your exact words, but they will always remember how you made them feel during your presentation. Engaging delivery is how you make the lasting impression. Okay, so let's move to the another slide with the storytelling in presentation. When we think about the presentation, we remember they are usually not the ones filled with endless data or complicated charts. They are the ones that told a story. Why? Because people connect with emotions and experiences, not just facts. Storytelling gives life to your message and makes it memorable and get it stick with the people. Storytelling makes the presentation powerful because people connect with the emotions and experiences, not just facts. A story helps the audience remember your message and relate it to real life. How you can use it effectively? Let's have a look on these 4 points. First, start with a hook. Second, build a narrative. Third, use characters and emotions. And last one, end with impact, which is also known as conclusion. So let's have a look on these with briefly. Start with a hook. This could be a question, a relatable scenario, or even a surprising fact. For example, if you're presenting about innovation, you might start with, what if I told you that the device in your pocket is more powerful than the computer that sends to human to the moon? That instantly grabs the attention. Next, build a narrative. Every good story has a structure like problem, journey, and result. Just like we learned in the previous slide about like getting in the first, middle, and solution. You should show that challenges exist, explain the process or the struggle, and then highlight the solution or outcome. This keeps your audience engaged because they are following a journey. Then bring in character and emotions. Instead of talking about abstract concepts, talk about real people. It could be a student, a farmer, or even a business team. And what they went through. When you make it personal, the audience feels connected because they might feel relatable to it. Finally, you should always end with impact. Tie your story back to your core message so the audience not only remembers the story but also links it to the idea you want them to carry forward. Let's some of these all. First, story with a hook. Begin with a relatable situation, question, or problem. Build a narrative. Show the challenge, the solution, and the outcome, which is problem, journey, and result. Use characters and emotions. Make it personal. Talk about real people, teams, or communities. And last, end with impact. Conclude your story by tying it back to your core message. The beauty of storytelling is that it makes complex ideas simple and relatable. Your facts and figures matters, but it's the story around them that makes people sit up, listen, and remember what you said. Now, let's talk about visuals. One of the most powerful tools we have in presentations are visuals. Visuals are like shortcuts for the brain. They help people grasp complex information faster and remember it for longer. But at the same time, visuals can either make the presentation powerful or completely overwhelming depending on how you use them. First, keep it really simple. Think about the last time you saw a presentation with full of complicated charts, tiny text, or too many colors. It was probably a hard to focus, right? A clean, well-designed chart or a simple diagram communicates far better than a messy one. For example, instead of a table with 10 rows of data, you can show a simple bar graph highlighting the most important traits. Second, support and don't replace your work. Sometimes presenters put their entire speech on the slide and then just read it out. That makes the audience wonder, why am I even listening it? It's all on the screen. The slide should work like a visual cue that enhances your message, not replace it. Imagine you're presenting about a climate change. If your slide just says global warming increasing, it's not engaging at all. But if you show a striking image of a melting glacier alongside a short caption, it's harder. Third, consistency matters. This might sound small, but things like using the same font, colors, and style throughout your presentation create professionalism and flow. Instead of using random colors and random fonts and all, use icons or infographic instead of a long explanation. For example, instead of listing bullet points about how solar energy works, show a simple diagram of sunlight hitting panels and electricity flowing into a home. It makes the message more clear at a glance. Let's sum up all together. Keep it simple, use clean charts, diagrams, and icons instead of cluttered slides. Support, don't replace. Visuals should enhance your message, not speak for you. Consistency matters. Stick to a consistent color scheme, fonts, and style for professionalism. Show, don't tell. Replace long text with messages, images, infographics, or data visualizations. Remember, visuals are not decorations, they are communication tools. A picture truly is worth 1,000 words, but only if it's chosen wisely. So, when preparing your slides, ask yourself, does this visual help my audience understand better, or it just filling the space? That little filter makes all the difference between a slide that's powerful and one that's distracting. And when it comes to presentations, your words are important, but how you deliver them is often even more powerful. So for that, we have a slide for you, which will tell you about body language and voice. Your words matter, but how you deliver them matters even more. Body language and voice create trust, confidence, credibility, and impact. Audience often remember the way you made them feel rather than every detail you said. People may not always remember every single detail you said, but they will definitely remember the way you made them feel. And the body language and the voice are the keys to leaving that impression. Let's start with the first one, which is posture and movement. Standing tall with your shoulders back naturally communicates confidence. Avoid slouching or fidgeting because it makes you seem unsure and underconfident. At the same time, don't freeze in one spot. Use purposeful movement, just like step forward to emphasize a point or most likely to the slide when transitioning between ideas. Movement, when done right, keeps energy alive in the room. Next, eye contact. Think of your eyes as your direct connection to the audience. Instead of starting at your slides or the floor, look at different sections of the room. This makes everyone feel included. If you're nervous, one trick is to look slightly above people's head. It still feels like eye contact from their perspective. Now, gesture. Gestures like your hands are a powerful tool to bring your message to life. Use them naturally to underline the key points, like spreading your hands to show scale or pointing gently to highlight something. But remember, gesture should support, not distract. Waving your hands too much or playing with a pen can break the audience focus. You should use them appropriately when needed. Then comes to voice control. Your voice is your instrument. If you speak in the same tone, same speed, and the same pitch, people will lose interest very quickly. Use variation. Slow down to emphasize something important. Pause to let an idea sink in. Or raise your tone slightly to show enthusiasm. Pauses, in particular, are powerful. They give audience time to absorb your message and make you sound more confident and more relatable. And finally, clarity and volume. Speak clearly and at a volume where even the last person in the room can hear you comfortably. Don't show about the project with energy. If you're if you're unsure, ask the audience once if they can hear you clearly or they are getting your point and you all are on the same page instead of their mind wandering here and there. Okay, so let's sum up all. Then I'll provide you with a pro tip, which you can see on the screen, but let me elaborate with that. Posture and movement. Stand tall, avoid slouching, and use purposeful movement to show confidence. Eye contact. Connect with different parts of the room to build rapport. Gestures. Use natural hand gestures to emphasize points, but avoid overdoing them. Voice control, vary tone, speed, and pauses to keep the audience engaged. clarity, and volume. Speak clearly and loud enough for everyone to hear without shouting. So, here's a pro tip: record yourself while practicing. Watching your body language and listening to your own voice is one of the fastest ways to notice what needs to be improved. Whether it's speaking too fast, avoiding eye contact, or not varying your tone, or even not using the gestures, or using them over. So, remember, your body language and your voice together create trust, confidence, and impact. When used effectively, they can make your audience feel connected, inspired, and fully engaged with your message. The main thing: to avoid mistakes. Even stronger ideas can lose impact if the presentation is filled with common mistakes. Imagine you walk into a session and the first slide you see is filled with paragraphs of text. The presenter turns to the screen, starts reading every single line, word for word, barely looks at you, and speaks in a flat, rushed voice. How long before you lose interest? 10 seconds, 20 seconds, right? We have all been in that situation. And the truth is, many presenters fall into the same traps without realizing it. That's why today I want to talk about the common mistakes. We have 5 points: overloading slides, reading word for word, ignoring the audience, speaking too fast or too low, skipping practice. When it comes to presentation, mistakes are really common. And the unfortunate part is that even if you have a brilliant idea, a few basic errors can weaken the impact. That's why being aware of these pitfalls is so important. It helps you present more confidently and keeps your audience fully engaged. Let's look at some of the most common mistakes and how to avoid them. Let's have a look on these 5 points. First, overloading slides. Many presenters think that more content means more clarity, but in reality, it does the opposite. Imagine seeing a slide packed with tiny text, numbers, and bullet points. It feels overwhelming, and the audience doesn't know where to focus. Instead, keep your slides clean and really simple. Use key points, not the whole paragraph. Visuals and diagrams to highlight your ideas. Remember, your slides are meant to support your work, not to act as a script. Second, mistake is reading forward for like word for word from slides. If you just read out what's on the screen, the audience might think, why should I listen if I can just read myself? It also breaks your connection with them because your eyes are stuck on the screen instead of on the people. A better approach is to know your key points and speak naturally, using the slides as cues or prompts. This way, you come across as more confident and authentic. Another big mistake is ignoring the audience. Presenting is not a one-way street. It's a conversation. If you don't make the eye contact, don't smile, or don't try to involve them, people will quickly lose their interest. Sometimes as a like something as simple as looking around the room, asking a question, or acknowledging their reactions can make the presentation interactive and engaging. Next, let's talk about the speaking too fast or too low. This is something many of us do when nervous. If you speak too fast, people won't be able to keep up with your message. On the other hand, if you speak too softly, people at the back might completely miss your point. The solution is to practice your pacing. I'm sorry. The solution is to practice your pacing. Use pauses to emphasize important parts and check that your volume reaches everyone in the room. Just a minute, please. Okay, so let's continue with the final one. One of the biggest mistakes is skipping practice. Many people assume they can wing it, but the truth is, even the most confident speakers rehearse. Practice not only helps us remember your flow, but also reduces nervousness. It gives you a chance to test your timings, refine your body language, and notice small things that can make a really big difference. So, to sum it up, avoid overloading your slides. Don't just read them out. Stay connected with your audience, control your voice and pace, and most importantly, practice before the real thing. By steering clear of these mistakes, you set yourself apart as a confident and impactful presenter. Let's move to another slide. Now that we have covered how to structure and deliver technical presentation effectively, it's time to talk about the next step, which is pitching. While presenters are designed to fully explain a topic or solution, a pitch is very different. It's short, sharp, and crafted to grab attention quickly. Think of it as the bridge. Yeah, I'm sorry. Think of it as the bridge between sparking someone's interest and getting them to engage in a deeper conversation. The first key difference is length. In a presentation, you may have 10 to 20 minutes to explain your idea in detail. In a pitch, you often have just 10 to 30, like 30 to 90 seconds, not 10, 30 to 90 seconds. That means you must condense your content to the essentials, highlight the problem, highlight the solution, and why it matters, without overwhelming the listener with every technical detail. Second, focus on impact, not details. Pitches are about what your idea accomplishes. For example, instead of explaining the mechanics of a new app, you emphasize the value it provides. You can say this app helps students save 2 hours a day by automatically studying schedules. That's what makes people sit up and pay attention. Third, consider your audience first. Investor, customers, peers, they all care about different things. Investors want to know market potential and ROI, which is return on investment. Customers want to know how it benefits them. Peers may be interested in collaboration or learning. A good pitch is tailored to address what your specific listeners cares about most. Fourth and the last one, a strong pitch creates curiosity. You don't need to tell everything, just enough to spark interest and leave listeners wanting more. End with a line or question that invites further discussion, like if you would like, I can show you how this app can improve productivity by 30% in just 2 weeks. Notice the difference? It just came to like a whole point. So the main takeaway is that pitching is about being concise, impactful, and audience focused. Let's explore the concept of an elevator pitch. The name comes from the idea that that you should be able to deliver. The goal is not to explain everything about yourself or your idea, but to spark interest and open the door for a deeper conversation. Think of it as a hook that immediately captures in attention and makes someone want to know more about you or your idea. First, an elevator pitch needs to be concise and clear. You only have a short window to make an impression, so every word counts. Avoid technical jargons or overly complicated language. Imagine meeting an investor or a potential client for the first time. They don't have the background to understand long explanations or acronyms. For example, instead of saying I specialize in photovoltaic, energy solutions or commercial applications. You could say, I help businesses save money using solar energy. Notice how simple and direct that is. It instantly communicates that essence of what you do in a way anyone can understand. Second, your pitch must be value oriented. People want to know the benefit of what you are offering, not the technical features you paid. The focus should always be on the problem you're solving and the value you are creating. For example, instead of explaining how many algorithms your app uses, you could say this app saves students 2 hours a day by automating their study schedules. By focusing on the benefit, you immediately make your audience relevant to the listener and the idea. Next, a great elevator pitch is memorable. You need a hook, a unique angle, rising fact, or a short story that makes your pitch stand out. Instead of simply saying, I work in renewable energy, you might say, I help companies but cut electricity bills by 40% with smart solar solutions. Cleaner, cheaper, and scalable. Notice how this version is more vivid, more concrete, and leaves a mental image for the listener. Another critical element is that your pitch must be goal driven. Every pitch should end with a call to action, something that encourages the listener to take the next step. This could be scheduling a meet, arranging a product demo, or simply exchanging contact information. Without a clear goal, your pitch may spark interest but not lead to any tangible outcome. It's also important to practice delivering your pitch naturally. Many people memorize it word for word, which can sound robotic or forced. Instead of practice enough that you know the main points and can adapt on the spot, deliver it conversationally with enthusiasm and confidence so it feels like you're speaking directly to the listeners rather than reciting a script. Finally, remember that an elevator pitch is not just for a formal meeting. You can use it at networking events, career fairs, conferences, or even casual encounters. It's a versatile tool that, when mastered, can open doors to opportunities that a longer presentation might never reach. So to summarize, an effective elevator pitch is concise, value-oriented, memorable, and goal-driven. It's an opportunity to make a strong first impression and spark curiosity, all in under a minute. By practicing and refining your pitch, you can confidently introduce yourself, your idea, or your solution. Let's move to next one. In today's fast-paced world, opportunities often appear and disappear in a matter of seconds. Whether it's a chance encounter with an investor, a recruiter at a career fair, or a potential client at a networking event, you rarely get more than a few minutes or even seconds to make an impression. That's why elevator pitches are more important. A well prepared pitch allows you to communicate your value in a way that is clearer, engaging, and memorable. Let's break down why elevator pitches are so crucial. First, impression counts. Like first impressions always count. Studies show that people often form an opinion about you in the first 7 to 10 seconds of meeting. That means you may have less than a minute to capture interest. A strong elevator pitch ensures that your first impression highlight your strengths, sparks curiosity, and sets the tone for a deeper conversation. Imagine walking into a room and someone asking, what do you do? Your pitch is your chance to answer confidently and make yourself unforgettable. Second, elevator pitch. It opens the door. They can lead to networking opportunities, interviews, collaborations, or business deals. Even a short, concise pitch can be the trigger for someone to say, I would like to learn more about this. Without a pitch, your ideas may never get the attention they deserve. For example, a startup a startup founder at a conference might only have a minute with an investor. If they can clearly convey the problem their product solves and its impact, that 1 minute could be turned into a meeting, funding, or partnership. Third, having a prepared pitch builds confidence. Many people feel nervous in unexpected situations. Meeting someone important, speaking in front of a group, or attending a networking event. Knowing that you have a concise, impactful way to introduce yourself or your ideas reduces anxiety. You can speak clearly, naturally, and persuasively without fumbling for words. It's like having a safety net that ensures you always make the best impressions. Fourth, crafting a pitch clarifies your message. When you have to condense your skills, ideas, or projects into 30 to 60 seconds, you are forced to focus on what really matters, the value you bring. It removes unnecessary details and emphasize the core of your idea. This clarity is valuable not just for others but also for yourself. You, you start thinking about your work in terms of impact and relevance, which makes your overall communication stronger. Finally, a strong elevator pitch gives you a competitive advantage. Many people may have similar skills, ideas, or solutions, but those who can present them concisely and memorably always stands out. A great pitch makes people remember you and consider your idea seriously. It's not just about speaking quickly, it's really about speaking smartly, clearly, showing your confidence, and making your message resonate. So, in summary, elevator pitch are more than just a quick introduction. They are a strategic tool to make strong first impression, open the opportunities, boost confidence, clarify your message, and give you a competitive edge. Mastering your pitch means you are always prepared to make an impact, no matter how brief the opportunity is. Now that we have understand what an elevator pitch is and why it's important, let's look at its structure. A good pitch is not random. It follows a simple, clear sequence that makes it professional, persuasive, and memorable. By following this structure, you ensure your pitch communicates your value quickly and effectively. The first part is introduction. Who you are. Start with your name, role, or background. This establishes credibility and gives the listener context. For example, you could say, "Hi, I'm Webavi, a renewable energy engineer." This tells your audience this tells your audience not just your name, but also your field to expertise. Keep it confident, friendly, and concise. That is your first impression, so it matters a lot. Next comes what you do or the problem you solve. Here you should briefly explain your work or your idea in simple, easy to understand terms. Avoid jargons and complex descriptions. For instance, I help companies reduce electricity costs. This tells the listener what you do and frames it in terms of a problem you solve, something they can immediately relate to. The third is the value propositions. This is where you highlight the benefit or unique edge of your work. Why should someone care? What makes your solution different? For example, through smart solar solutions that cut bills by 40%, notice how this emphasizes the tangible impact. It's not just about what you do, but what value it creates. Finally, every pitch should end with a call to action. Don't leave the conversation hanging. Invite the listeners to take the next step. This could be arranging a meet, scheduling a demo, or simply exchanging contact details. For instance, would you be open to share to a short call next week? This gives a clear direction and makes your pitch actionable. A pro tip here is to practice trimming your pitch to fit within 30 to 60 seconds or might more, but not much, while keeping it engaging. You don't want it to feel rushed, but you also don't want to exceed the listener's attention span. The best the best pitches are concise, clear, and leave the listener wanting more. So to summarize, think of your elevator pitch as a mini story. Start with who you are, explain what you do or the problem you solve, highlight the value you provide, and end with a clear next step. When structured this way, your pitch is professional, memorable, and most importantly, effective at opening doors and creating opportunities. Now, let's look at a concrete example of an elevator pitch. Seeing an actual pitch helps make all the concepts we have discussed so far more practical and relatable. In this example, we will consider a student or a young entrepreneur who wants to pitch a new app idea in less than a minute. Notice how it follows the structure we discussed: introduction, problem, solution, value, and call to action. The pitch starts with the introduction. Hi, I'm Arav, a final year computer science student. This immediately tells the listener who is he and his background and establishing credibility and what they want. You don't need to give a full life story, just enough context so the listener knows why they should pay attention. Next is the problem. Many students struggle to manage assignments, deadlines, and group projects effectively. This statement identifies a clear pain point that the audience can relate to. It's important to frame the problem in a way that makes the listener think, yes, this is something that needs a solution. Then comes to the solution. I have built CampusMate, a mobile app that organizes tasks, sends deadline reminders, and makes group collaboration easy. Here, the speaker briefly explains what the product does. Notice how it's concise, avoids unnecessary technical details. The focus it is on what the app achieves for the users. Next, the value. Value is the part of the pitch emphasizes the benefits. It helps students save time, reduces stress, and boost academic performance. This is the most important part because it answers the listener's question. Why does this matter? It's not about the features, it's about the impact. Finally, the call to action. Would you be open to trying a demo to see how it could help your students? Every good pitch ends with a next step. Without this, the listener might be interested but unsure how to act. Action directs conversation forward. When we put it all together, the full picture sound like this. You can see the full example here. Hi, I'm Arav, a final year computer science student. I noticed that students often miss the deadlines and get stressed managing group projects. To solve this, I created CampusMate, an app that tracks assignments, sends reminders, and simplifies collaboration. It saves time, reduces stress, and improves grades. Would you be open to checking it out a demo? Notice how it's concise, engaging, and hits all the key points. It takes less than a minute to deliver, yet it clearly communicates who Arav is, what the problem he is solving, how his solution works, and value it provides, and what action he wants the listener. This example shows how following a structured approachable can make a pitch powerful and memorable. In fact, practicing such examples before your real interaction can dramatically improve your confidence and effectiveness. Let's discuss how to make your pitch truly great. Delivering a pitch is not just about what you say, it's also about how you say it. A strong pitch is clear, confident, and tailored to your audience. Here, here are some tips that can make your elevator pitch more impactful and memorable. First, be clear and concise. Avoid jargon or complicated terms and use simple everyday language. The goal is for the listener to understand your ideal idea immediately, even if they don't have expertise in your field. A pitch should communicate the essence of your idea in just a few sentences, not a detailed explanation. Second, hook the listener. Start your pitch with something that grabs attention, like a surprising fact, a thought-provoking questions, or a relatable problem. This helps engaging your audience from the first second. Am I audible to everyone? Okay, fine. So let's start with the second one again. Hook the listener. You should always start your pitch with something that grabs your audience attention. Just like a surprising fact, a thought-provoking questions, or a relatable problem. This helps engage your audience from the first second. For example, instead of saying, I made an app, you might say, did you know that students spend over 2 hours every day organizing their assignments? This immediately makes the listener curious and interested in your solutions. Third, show enthusiasm. Energy and passions are contagious. If you speak with excitement about your ideas, your audience is more likely to care. A monotone tone or flat delivery can make even the most brilliant idea seem uninteresting or being ignored. So smile, use your voice effectively, and let your passion come through. Fourth, highlight benefits, not features. Many people make the mistake of describing what their product or service does. Instead of that, instead of the impact it has, always focus on the value you bring. For instance, instead of saying I built an AI app, you could say I built an AI app that helps students study 40% faster by summarizing notes instantly. Would you like to see a demo? The second version immediately shows the listener the tangible benefit. Fifth, practice and refine. Rehearsing your pitch multiple times ensures it feels natural and confident, not robotic. Practice helps how practice helps how you maintain a proper pacing, uses pauses, and reduce filler words. You can also experiment with different ways of phrasing your points to see which version lands best. Sixth, adapt to your audience. Different audiences care about different things. Investors want to know potential returns. Customers want benefits, and peers may want to know feasibility or collaboration opportunities. Adjust your tone, language, and focus to match that what matters most to the listener. Finally, end with a call to action. Every pitch should finish with the next step. Invite the listener to schedule a meet, try a demo, or exchange contact information. Without this, your pitch may be interesting, but it won't lead to anywhere. A pro tip is to record yourself giving your pitch. Watching it back it helps you to identify areas to improve, like in tone, clarity, or even confidence. You will notice things like pacing, gestures, or even energy levels that you might not realize in real time. By following these tips, you can create a pitch that is professional, engaging, and memorable. Mastering these techniques ensures that every time you present your idea, you leave a strong impression and maximize your chances of creating opportunities. One of the most important aspects of a successful elevator pitch is understanding that it's not a one size fits all tool. The way you present your ideas should vary depending on who is listening and who you're delivering. Tailoring your pitches ensures that your message resonates and it connects with the audience's priorities, which significantly increases the likelihood of engagement and positive responses. Let's start with the investor or venture capitalist. Investors are primarily interested in the potential market opportunities, scalability, and return on investment. They want to know if your idea is a viable or profitable. When pitching to investors, your language should focus on growth, potential, revenue, and how your idea can make a significant impact. Next, customer to client. Here, the focus shifts from profitability to solving their problems and delivering value. What does your product or service do to make their life easier? How does it solve a pain point? Or, for instance, a student focused app could be pitched as this app helps you never miss deadlines and manage project stress-free. Notice how this emphasizes the benefits, not the technical details. Customers care about how it impacts them, not necessarily how it works. When pitching to recruiters or employers, the emphasis changed again. Now, the goal is to showcase your skills, experience, and fit for a role. Instead of focusing on a product, highlight your personal contribution, expertise, and achievements. For example, I am a software engineer with experience in developing apps that improve student productivity, and I am excited to bring this expertise to your team. This approach frames you as a solution to their organizational needs. For peers or students, the pitch should highlight collaboration, ease of use, and shared benefits. Peers are looking for how your idea or solution can make teamwork or learning more effective. A pitch example could be this app helps students coordinate group projects efficiently, saving everyone time and reducing stress. It emphasizes practicality and how it benefits the group rather than just an individual. Finally, when we speak to general public, simplicity is the key. Use relatable language, examples, and a clear hook. Avoid jargons or overly technical explanations. Your goal is to spark curiosity and make your idea easy to understand. The key point is the same idea can be presented very differently depending on the audience. By adapting your tone, emphasis, and language to meet the listener's interest, you make the pitch more relevant, engaging, and effective. Always ask yourself, who am I speaking to and what do they care about most? This small adjustment can make a huge difference in how your pitching is received. So remember, tailoring your pitch is not just about changing words, it's about connecting with your audience's perspective, addressing their priorities, and making them feel that your idea matters to them. This is what turns a simple pitch into a powerful tool for opening doors and creating opportunities. Even the best ideas can fail to make an impact if they are pitched poorly. Being aware of common pitching mistakes is a crucial because avoiding them can significantly improve how your pitch is received. Let's go through the main mistakes in detail and discuss why they matter. First, going too long or rambling. Many people exceeds the recommended 30 to 60 seconds for an elevator pitch. When an elevator pitch drags on, the listener may lose focus, miss key points, or even stop paying attention entirely. The essence of elevator pitch is brevity. Every word should add value. Think of it as a headline. It should grab attention, deliver the core idea, and leave the listener curious without overwhelming them with too much information or like technical details. If you notice yourself going off topic, it's a sign to simplify and tighten your message. Second, using too much jargons or technical language. While technical terms may be familiar to you, but not to everyone. For instance, saying we built a SAP platform with AI-driven NLP algorithms for B2B integrations. may sound impressive, but the listener might not grasp its meaning. A better approach is we created software that helps businesses save hours by automating customers' responses. This version is clear, immediately understandable, and focuses on the value delivered rather than the technical complexity. Third, failing to clearly communicate value. Many pitches focus on describing the product or service, but neglect explaining why it matters. Your audience is always asking, why should I care? Highlight the impact, whether it's saving time, reducing cost, or solving a real problem. Makes your pitch compelling. Remember, features are less important than benefits when delivering a short pitch. Fourth, sounding memorized or robotic. Reading a pitch word for word is a or delivering it mechanically can make even the best idea sound dumb. You want your pitch to feel conversational and authentic. Use natural gestures, maintain eye contact, vary your tone and pace. Energy and enthusiasm are contagious. If you sound excited, the listener is more likely to engage. Practicing your pitch enough to deliver it naturally is a key. Fifth, no call to action. Ending your pitch without guiding the listener to a next step is a missed opportunity. Every pitch should conclude with a clear call to action, such as scheduling a meet, trying a demo, or exchanging contact information. Without this, the listener may be intrigued but unsure how to respond, which diminishes the pitch's effectiveness. Sixth, ignoring the audience. Many people make the mistake of using the same pitch for every listener. Different audiences have different priorities. Investors want to know about the market potential and returns. Customers care about solution and benefits. And peers might be more interested in collaboration and ease of use. Tailoring your pitch to address what matters most to your audience makes it relevant and engaging. And finally, a pro tip is to practice your pitch with friends, mentors, or peers. By being aware of these common mistakes and actively working to avoid them, you can ensure your elevator pitch is concise, clear, value focused, engaging, and audience tailored. Avoiding these pitfalls dramatically increases your chances of making a strong impression, sparking interest, and creating opportunities for follow up. A well delivered pitch can open doors that even the most brilliant idea cannot if communicated really poorly. Let's discuss how to combine presentation and pitches effectively. Many people think of these as separate skills. A presentation builds understanding by providing context, details, and credibility, while a pitch drives action by delivering a concise, persuasive message that motivates the audience to respond. Start with a presentation. Use slides, visuals, or demonstrations to explain the background, the problem, the proposed solution. This is your opportunity to provide context, share supporting ideas, share supporting data, and explain technical details if necessary. Once your audience is engaged, transition to a pitch. This is the moment where you summarize your entire presentation in 30 to 60 seconds. Emphasizing the value and benefits of your idea. The pitch should be concise, compelling, and answer the questions. Even if your audience remember only one part of your session, the pitch ensures it is the part that motivates action. A key element in combining presentations that pitches effectively, blending storytelling with data. Data establishes credibility, showing that your solution is based on facts and research. Stories, on the other hand, create an emotional connection that makes your message memorable. For instance, alongside statistics showing the efficiency of solar panels, you could share a story. You could share a story about a school or community that benefited from renewable energy. It's also important to adjust the depth of and focus based on your audience. For a technical expert, you can go into the details of your methodology and algorithms or experiments. Finally, always finish with a clear call to action. When you want funding, adoption of a solution, and feedbacks or a follow-up meeting, make it explicit. A strong call to action transforms your presentation from informative to result oriented. In summary, combining presentations and pitches means using the presentations to educate and build credibility, and the pitch to persuade and drive action. When done effectively, this approach ensures your audience not only understands your idea, but it's motivating and to support it. By blending storytelling, data, and audience-focused messaging, you maximizes the impact of your communication, making it both informative and persuasive. So, to wrap up this module, let's review the key takeaways from our session on presenting and pitching. Presenting and pitching are not separate skills, they complement each other. Mastering both allows you to communicate ideas clearly, persuasively, and confidently. Whether you are explaining a technical topic to an expert audience or selling an idea under a minute. First, effective presentation. A well-structured presentation ensures that your audience can follow along and understand your key points. Second, engaging deliveries. How you speak matters a lot, just as much as what you say. Storytelling, voice modulation, and body language are all tools that make a presentation memorable and impactful. Third, elevator pitch. A pitch is concise, clear, and focused on value rather than details. It's your opportunity to spark interest quickly and create a doorway for further discussion. Fourth, adaptability. One of the biggest mistakes in presenting or pitching is treating every audience the same. Different audiences, investors, clients, and employers, peers, or general public have different priorities. Finally, always include a call to action. Whether it's scheduling a meet, trying a demo, providing feedbacks, or adopting your idea, ending with a clear next step ensures that all presentation or pitch leads to tangible outcomes. In short, mastering presenting and pitching allows you to inform, inspire, and influence effectively. By combining structured content, engaging delivery, audience adaptations, and a clear call to action, you can leave a lasting impact and increase your ability to create opportunities in professional, academic, and entrepreneurial settings. To conclude this module, let's reflect on the power of presenting and pitching. These skills are more than just communication tools. They are what turn your ideas into real opportunities. A well-structured presentation helps your audience understand your idea clearly. Confidence plays a huge role here. The more you practice delivering your presentation and pitches, the more natural and persuasive you become. Finally, always focus on the impact of your idea and how you communicate. It's not just what you are presenting, it's how you present it that leaves a last impression. In essence, presenting and pitching are skills that turn your ideas into your action. They give you the ability to influence, inspire, and create meaningful change through effective communication. Thank you all for attending this session. I hope you found the insights on presenting and pitching useful and practical.